Okay, today our retro review is on Deep Space Nine, and it's called The Storyteller after this. Hello out there, I'm the oldest nerd, and The Storyteller speaks of the most important person in a village who is sick. And as a result, the station is contacted to send a doctor because the entire village is in danger. And suspecting an epidemic, O'Brien and Bashir go to the surface to try to find out what's going on and how to fix it. Meanwhile, on the station, there is a land dispute between the Paku and the Navat, and the representative, the leader of the Paku, is a teenager, approximately Jake and Nog's age, and that's where we lead into the story on the station. What they're talking about and how they settle it is completely unimportant. It's just something to drive a narrative along. But really what the show is about this week is to define some of the, what we will call minor characters. Right now, we still don't know a lot about Jake Sisko and Nog, except that they're not necessarily a good influence on each other, and that's pretty much put forward this time. But we find out what Nog's taste in women is, and there becomes kind of a rivalry between he and Jake over who can impress this Paku leader. She kind of enjoys the attention, honestly, and it does turn out that there is some good advice given. And we have one more rule of acquisition, the ninth rule, which is opportunity plus instinct equals profit. So we find out a little bit more about the friendship between Jake and Nog. It is kind of, as any two teenage boys are, it's kind of they're buddies, but they're also kind of rivals. They are prone to get one another into trouble for one reason or other. In this case, both to impress the girl, they are pulling some things that they might not normally do. And there is a funny scene with Odo's bucket, which is not the first time that that's been used as kind of a daring thing to do. And of course, they get their comeuppance before the end of the episode. Meanwhile, down on Bajor, what we're here to find out is, first of all, that in the plot, O'Brien is named as the new storyteller that keeps the terrible force away that is threatening the village, although it doesn't show up on sensors or their tricorders anyway. And it is an interesting little story of how it winds around, but beneath that, we see a little bit more of the contrasts between O'Brien and Bashir. Bashir, of course, is aware that O'Brien finds him annoying, or at least suspects it, and doesn't really know why, and wished that O'Brien would tell him, which he's not going to. Whereas Bashir is talkative and talks about himself all the time. O'Brien is a rather closed-mouthed individual, and if he has anything to say, he says it in very few words. So no two people could be any more different than each other. And while I don't think there's any dislike between them, they just don't have anything in common. And that is all right with O'Brien, and a source of concern to Bashir. Bashir implores O'Brien to call him Julian, which he does, but every time he says it, it basically sounds like I'm saying it because I have to. And also we see something about O'Brien's character as he's in kind of a mistaken identity and does not know how to deal with adoration of the village, of the collected people in the village. And you can see that that's a level of discomfort. He's very much an introverted individual, or someone who really is much more comfortable trying to fix things than he is trying to make any kind of diplomatic points or any kind of social graces. He's not actually awkward in this kind of thing. He's just not very interested in it. And so that's what I find in this episode, that we see the personalities brought out a little bit more of Jake and Nog, and their relationship with each other, and the personalities of O'Brien and how he interacts with Bashir. And it's interesting. And so as we go on through this season, we get to learn a little bit more about everybody. We didn't see anything of Dax in here. We did see some of Odo, who is one who keeps an eye on the kids about as much as he does on Quark. And that's interesting as well. He is the authority figure and seems to relish it. And Commander Sisko has no problem with that, especially with his own kids. Throw the book at him, Constable. He did not say, but might as well have. Okay, so if you have been watching along, why not make a comment below? Or if you haven't watched along, just watch these videos. That's fine with me. You can leave a comment below. And if you have not subscribed yet, please subscribe, because that keeps the channel growing, and we would appreciate your joining our little group of fellow nerds. So we will be back tomorrow with a review on the original series, and then we will have another retro review of Babylon 5 on Friday. And in about a week and a half, we will be having the first episode of Lower Decks, and we'll be reviewing that as well on Fridays. Okay, any questions? Hearing none, we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us, and don't go far.